Hi guys, my name is Joe Mars, Joseph Okwamaramba, and I'm here once again with a very simple observation, opinion, and with a little bit of facts. Because there has been an ongoing debate within the circles in Zimbabwe and within Africa about who's better between Drake and Kendrick Lamar. Who won the beef between these two artists? Clearly, there is one winner, but there are people that are refusing to see the facts that are on the ground. There are people that are using emotion over and opinions over fact. So I'm going to try and dispel some of those things right now so that in future, as and when we continue having debates about who's better and who's doing what, we can always try and remove emotions, remove our attachments to the music and to the people that we love. I don't know, for whatever reason, other than the music or the artistry itself. Okay. First things first, I will agree that Drake was on top of his game when it comes to music being listened to on Spotify and the streams between the two of them, Drake and Kendrick. Drake was ahead, but this is according to News Central.Africa. Kendrick Lamar has surpassed Drake for the top Spotify rap record. Okay, he has surpassed that. So let's not talk about that for the moment. These things fluctuate depending on who's bigger, who's doing what. Even the Super Bowl itself somewhat, catapults your streams and everything along the lines of who's listening to you and who's not. Okay. This new statistic that Kendrick is now on top of Drake in terms of the streams on Spotify for a rap record is because of the issue of him performing at the Super Bowl, right, in 2025. So be it, that catapults you. But at the same time, it doesn't necessarily follow that if you're just going to perform at the Super Bowl, whatever it is that you are performing is going to blow up, right? It just kind of depends. The second thing I want to dispel is the fact that I've had conversations. Come on, guys, it's becoming very, very lame and very, very actually silly to listen to people say, "Oh, Drake put Kendrick on. He put him on the stage. He made him who he is." There is absolutely no way. There is no history recorded. There is no part in past. There's no part in Kendrick's life where he owes Drake for nothing. Okay, as artist or as an artist in America, and you are blowing up, you obviously lean on to other artists that are bigger than you at that moment. You need to share those stages with them. You need to be presented to the people because usually, in this case, Drake had a huge following and Kendrick was up and coming, right? An artist of his own, not that Drake put him on or, discovered him or anything like that. Nothing of that sort, right? He's an artist of his own making and he's coming up. Obviously, you had to lean on one or two artists at that moment who are doing well. So it so happened that Kendrick opened for a tour that Drake was doing. Not necessarily to say, "Oh, Kendrick was put on by Drake." There is nothing of that sort. So it's just an interconnection, a relationship between Kendrick and Drake through their music execs and their recording studios and stuff like that to say, "Oh, you know what? We want to put you. We think you are the next big thing. So we want you to perform. Open up for Drake. It's probably just for now, and then you never open up for anybody else or whatever it is. That's what happened. But not to say can Drake put Kendrick on. That's the second thing that you must understand and remove it from any conversation that you're ever gonna have between Kendrick and Drake. Kendrick is his own artist. He has been writing his lyrics and his raps since childhood. He has been engrossed in the culture. He's not learning about the culture. He is the culture. He was living the culture, and he was just writing about it. His storytelling is up to par when it comes to the culture, the rap culture. And hence the reason why he takes jabs at Drake, because he lacks that ability to understand the culture, to that ability to understand that way of life of Black Americans in America. So again, it makes no sense for people to speak about Drake putting Kendrick on as a second thing. So now Kendrick has toppled Drake on the streams on Spotify. First thing. Secondly, Drake did not put on Kendrick. It was. I'm sure if it was up to him, he would have said, "Oh, nah." Do you know what I mean? Because this is obviously competition to whatever he was doing, right? The third thing that people must understand is that this beef is not a 2024 beef. This beef is not a 2022 beef. Actually, this beef or these jabs between these two artists started way back in 2013, right? Kendrick taking a jab at Drake, right? And with him, he was asked about it, and he spoke about why he took jabs at some of these rap artists in the industry. And he came outrightly and said, this is healthy competition. It's important for the culture. If you remember, and if you know your rap or your hip hop, you'll understand that Tupac and Biggie, although some people will say it got to be too much, but it has always been there within the culture of hip hop, the culture of rap. You take jabs, you proclaim yourself to be the king of hip hop, the king of rap, right? That's how it is. It's not to say the next person is ill-equipped, the next person does not know how to rap. Yes, there are rap artists that really don't know how to rap, right? They claim themselves to be rap artists, but they don't know how to do it, okay? That's why you'd find that there were battles even before Eminem was big. He used to battle a lot. So these are things that happen within the culture. And so Kendrick continued with that same thing within the culture, not to outrightly dislike somebody to say, and stuff like that. It's just how it is. They look at your face, or somebody would look at me and say, I don't like your shirt. I don't like the way you wear your cap. I don't like the way you talk. I don't like your studio, or your even, while they're rapping, because that's just how it is. You're trying to, that rhythm and poetry that makes up the rap is what you're trying to play with. And they've always been doing that. So in this point in case, the issue with Drake and Kendrick does not start in 2024, where a lot of people now started to hear and to listen, or 2023, when they started to hear that, oh, Kendrick took a jab at Drake, or Drake took a jab back at Kendrick. No, it doesn't start in these 2 years. It actually started in 2013. That being said, it was healthy until, obviously, Drake took it very, very personal and started entering into the realm of personal issues with Kendrick Lamar, who retaliated also with personal issues. So I will remind you on this whole issue of Kendrick and Drake that Drake had always been winning his battles when it comes to rap beefs. He has had a Meek Mill victory lap, or whatever you'd like to call it, in 2018 when he was battling with Meek Mill, right? He reminded listeners while taking a Meek Mill victory lap on More Lives, and he says, More Lives Lose You, that track in 2018. He says, we wrote the book on calculated thinking. Again, he was engrossed within the culture dynamics, how the culture is. You would find an opponent you battle with him and you try and find out who comes out the victor. So according to the so many battles that Drake has gone into, he has been victorious. I will give you examples of some of these. All right. He had a battle with Common. You know Common, right? And he even knocked out, some would say, well, he did, Diddy, P. Diddy, the one who is incarcerated right now. And the most notable one would be the Meek Mill one, right? In the Ground for Good on back to back. You understand? So he proved himself prior to eventually setting himself up to failure with Kendrick to be a rap artist or hip hop artist of note. Like, you know, you go into a battle, you go into a hip hop battle or into a beef, and then you square up and you squabble up, right? And then you win. So I guess in his own defense, he was just like any other boxer that is out there. You don't want anybody coming in and challenging your throne and you do nothing about it. So rightfully so, Drake had every other reason to actually think he could win the battle between himself and Kendrick. But you didn't count for what the boogeyman knew, and you didn't count for, you know, the depth of the understanding of how to battle with somebody else that Kendrick Lamar has. And I would take all the other people that he sparred with in the future, in history, like Common, like your Diddy and your Meek Mill, you know, and stuff like that. Nobody compares to Kendrick. So when the time came, I guess this is correct and this is right, Kendrick was watching all of this and he was like, I will get you, or I will take on revenge. Remember that fight? That Mike Tyson fight was fighting to revenge, what's his name? Muhammad Ali's loss, right? There was a fight in which Mike Tyson was actually very angry at the fact that Muhammad Ali, his inspiration and his god in boxing, was actually defeated, and he was like, you know, he wants to take revenge. So from the sidelines, he was watching, and he knew his time would come when he had to spar and he had to fight with Drake. I do not have any doubt in my mind that some of these things, some of the raps that Kendrick had for Drake had been written a long time ago. That's how I'm thinking. It's either that or Kendrick is so sharp to think on his feet and just be like, oh, okay, Drake has released something, we have to counter, and I have to counter. He sits down and he thinks about all the things that he thinks meet the grams, they're not like us, etc, etc, and just write it out quickly and say, let's go to studio. Mustard! And Mustard comes through and he's got a beat and he's got a song. It's either of those two songs. But whichever case, that's how the culture is. So I've seen a lot of posts on social media, people actually saying, you know, Kendrick's performance was lackluster or terrible or not entertaining and stuff like that. Here's what I have to say about anybody who's saying that. You are not a Kendrick fan. Leave us to enjoy that Kendrick performance. That 15 minutes, it won't kill you. If there's 15 minutes of your life that you don't have to watch, is Kendrick performing at the Super Bowl. I promise you, you will not die. There are so many things in life that we have to let, like, if it's not you, it's not you. I was having this conversation with my sons and I told them, I've never had the heart. I've never had the time. I've never had the inclination. I've never had the persuasion. I've never had the appetite to go and listen to a full, Drake album. That's how it is. Appetite. You go into a shop full of food. You're not going to eat everything unless you are some kind of crazy. You're not going to eat everything. You're going to look at it and say, okay, I'm in a shop full of food, but I want jelly. I want ice cream. Or I want some pudding. I want some steak and stuff like that. That's what you're going to do. But all of it is food. So all of this is music. And it's going to go with what you like, as in what taste of music do you like. If you like this specific kind of taste of the music, such as the one that Drake produces, the one that you can listen to the mall, the one that is written largely for females, the one that that is corny and it's not hardcore rap and is not anything to promote the culture and to promote black culture, black people, then so be it. Listen to it, enjoy it. And if you do not like how Kendrick Lamar is trying to free the slaves of 2024, 2025, then don't listen to Kendrick Lamar. It is as simple as that. What I don't particularly enjoy is seeing people on timeline, oh yeah, it was boring. How many things bore you in life? A gazillion things will bore you to death, but you do not write about it. The only reason why you're writing about it is because your favorite artist just got a very large ass whooping in 2024, 2025, and it will continue. That is the only reason why you're writing about it. When we had the feud between Biggie and Tupac, I'm telling you, I was torn. I love rap music and I love both artists. I was torn, but it's slight inclination, slight tipping towards Tupac, because I love Tupac and everything that he represented. I loved the way that he was fighting for the culture. I loved the way that he would rap. I loved the way that he would fight for people, that he would speak out against the ills of society. Biggie, no offense, very good artist. In fact, I would even at times say, oh, this song is way better than anything that Tupac has ever produced. But, that was me back then. But in this case, it's so easy. And I'm not going to do this, reaction just because I love Kendrick Lamar. I'm not going to convince you to love Kendrick Lamar. Do not like Kendrick Lamar on my accord. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do anything on anybody's accord. The same way, don't try and make us not like Kendrick Lamar just because you don't like Kendrick Lamar. But as I started out this piece, this podcast, I wanted to let you know that, of course, Kendrick Lamar is now leading Drake on a rap song in terms of streams. This beef started way back in 2013. Okay? It's not just a wake up in the night and it's like, okay. And it's also part of the culture. So the rap culture is like that. You beef with people, not necessarily that you don't like them, but you beef and you expose and you tell either the truth or you insult or insinuate, pertaining to whatever it is, so that you win, the battle. And in this case, there's so many truths that Kendrick Lamar exposed about Drake is probably what a lot of people are angry about. How can you call my favorite artist a pedophile? That's not even, oh yeah, how can you say, he likes young girls, is it A minor and all of these things? I mean, there are reasons as to why Kendrick Lamar is using that, is milking to some extent that whole A minor and pedophile and whatever. There is a reason to it, and according to Kendrick's camp, they keep saying, if you go and sue, we have the facts about it. We have the the what you call it, we have the evidence. So he's probably not rapping about things that he's just thought of and said, okay, let me just call somebody else a pedophile. No, they know something, and they are ready to go into the court of law. So a lot of people will be like, oh, he's suing and what. Drake has been suing a lot. Drake has been suing and has been sued. Just go into the history of Drake and find out there's so many things that he had to sue for, and people have sued him for stealing for stealing their music, for fighting, for all kinds of things. And that's why Kendrick Lamar is not worried about Drake suing. In fact, he says it into halfway into his show that, you know what, I like to perform people's favorite song, but you know, they like to sue. They like to sue. We all know Drake likes to sue and be sued, for that matter. So I feel like there's a lot of the reason why a lot of people are so agitated over the fact that Kendrick Lamar had to perform at, if Drake, here's what I put to you, if Drake had won that beef, you would have loved to see him performing at the halftime show. You would have enjoyed it. People would have been like, yeah, he deserved it. If Drake had won it, and if he had won 5 Grammys, all of his fans were going to be like, yeah, we deserve it. But because you didn't, you're going to cry foul. I probably would have been sitting here and be like, nah, I don't think Drake won that. It was rigged and stuff like that, because I am a Kendrick Lamar fan. I would have probably said that. But like I said, I'm not going to sit here and I'll try and convince you to be a Kendrick Lamar fan. In 2025 and beyond, I've said this, and I say this in my last post, there is no apparent reason why anybody should be angry at the fact that somebody supports somebody that they don't. If somebody supports Trump, that's fine. If somebody supports Mnangagwa, somebody supports Ramaphosa, someone supports Kendrick, somebody supports Drake, that's you. Do not go into people's, like, guys, we are your friends, and I would hate to be removing you from my list of friends because you talk a whole lot of cack about your opinions over whoever it is and why they support and why they do that. It pisses me off, to be quite honest. I look at people's posts and I'm like, that's fucking ridiculous. Like, why would you go and say it was boring and I didn't like it? You didn't like it because you don't like Kendrick Lamar's music. So don't write about that. Rather critically come back and talk about the things in the facts as they are. Is Not Like Us a very good song? According to the streams on Spotify, it is a very good song. It has toppled Drake, who was the number 1 on that list. Is Not Like Us factual? Kendrick Lamar would have been sued left, right, and center. He would have been asked not to perform that song on the halftime show. He would have not won all the Grammys that he has won if it was not true. Well, even if it is true, or even if it is not true, how are you going to sue somebody who's making a song? It's for entertainment purposes. If we start suing people on what they write on a song, come on now. If we start suing people on what they write about a song, okay, it's fine. I don't know. They can go to court and whatever. But it doesn't make sense to me. The other conversation, which is silly on some level or the other, is, oh, Drake has got more music than Kendrick. Have you gone into their notebooks or wherever they store their music and seen how much music they've got? Granted, at the moment, Drake is sitting on something like 8 albums. Kendrick is sitting on something on 6 albums, if I'm not mistaken. And their body of work continues to grow. As an artist grows, your body of work continues. You've got collaborations, you've got other things that you need to do, like your appearances on film or whatever, etc, etc. But by virtue of Drake starting within the music industry, or blowing up first within the music industry, you would have more albums than Kendrick Lamar. And that is not a position at which people should argue. It's going to happen. You cannot want to compare Oliver Mtukudzi, who spanned the industry for donkey years with his 50 albums, and you want to compare, say for example, Gwinky D or even Ja Praiser, who, it does not make sense. If you want to compare two artists, here's what I think you should do. You look at the impact that they're having on a specific culture. Culture being specific genre. It can be R&B, it can be jazz, it can be hip hop, it can be rap. In this case, it's rap, right? You look at the impact that they're having. Kendrick Lamar and all of the haters of Kendrick Lamar think he gets his awards for doing nothing. He wakes up and, like in Drake's one of his songs, he says, Kendrick just opened his mouth. Let's give him a Grammy. No, it doesn't happen like that, Drake, and all of you Drake friends. It doesn't happen like that. You release bodies of work, and people like journalists like ourselves, music critics, people that critique film and look at films or whatever productions in the visual arts. There are people that know and understand, and then they look at this thing and say, okay, that's a very good video. In fact, even including the write-up to the video, this is what we wanted to portray. Have they achieved what they wanted to do with whatever production that they've done? The music, the video, etc. So you cannot tell me that with all the awards that Kendrick Lamar has won in his career, that they've just been handed over to him, including a Pulitzer Prize. Including a Pulitzer. One of the most sought after, one of the most biggest awards in the world. Not anybody, not a Tom, Dick, and Harry just gets a Pulitzer Prize. Okay? That too, it was just handed to him. No, it doesn't work like that. As much as you might hate somebody, you need to critically analyze the things that are happening around the art, not the person. Don't hate the person, hate the art, the body of work. That will show you how much Kendrick is grafting and how much he deserves. Like he says in his song, I deserve it all. He deserves it all because he's working very, very hard. Now, I had a chance to watch Kendrick Lamar when he popped up in South Africa at the Hey Neighbor Festival. That was in 2023, at the end of, was it 2023? Yeah. And I was covering the event, right? And I was in the dugout, the photography pit there for a couple of songs. I think it was 3 songs, and after that I had to to join the other crowds outside. But I saw him close by. Of course, the stage was very high up. It's not as close as, and I don't think he even saw me, right? He's probably seeing a pool of people, like a sea of people right there. And the only reason I would say, and I would speak out of about Kendrick Lamar and his performances is because I've attended one. Some people have not attended a Drake performance. Some people have not attended a Kendrick performance. So being a fan, I did attend. And by attending, I was not only attending so that I can just say, oh yeah, Kendrick is the best. He's the best at everything and he's done everything. No, I wasn't just doing that. I was covering the event to see what's happening, what's transpiring as a photojournalist, radio journalist, as a journalist as a whole. So when I cover that, I really understood as to why Kendrick has Kendrick's performances and his fan base is growing rapidly. The guy has released quite a huge number, a good body of art, and he keeps making good music, and his performances are top notch. He takes his time, he creates, he understands, and he really takes the time to understand what audience am I going into. And I'm not saying Drake doesn't do this, by the way. All I'm just saying is I understand as to why Kendrick's following is growing bigger and bigger, because the man is grafting non-stop. So stuff is being thrown all over the place. People are just not sure what to do with who to support or who to be in favor of between Kendrick and Drake. People are loosely talking about the conversation without actually stating the facts, right? People are just out there and really don't know what to do with it. But I will tell you this for free. Love who you love. Simple. Love who you love. If you're a Drake fan, love him. If you're a Kendrick fan, love him and listen to his music. Just don't try and convince the other person otherwise. Because at the end of the day, you're just going to have these squabbles. You know? You're just going to have these squabbles where it never ends. It's like the Messi and Ronaldo kind of conversation. Winky D and Jabreza. Or, you know, it will never end. Love who you love. Leave it at that. Because that's so heavily opinionated. When it comes to the fact, just take the time. Just, you know, take the time and read some of the stuff that Kendrick has done. Right? I had a conversation with, like I said, with my sons about this beef. And they're like, Kendrick hasn't even released like 5 albums. Almost cringed. You don't know what you're talking about. Kendrick has more than 5 albums. Kendrick has worked extensively over the years with so many artists on so many other projects other than his own albums as well. You know, collaborations, soundtracks, movie soundtracks, you name it. So you cannot talk about that and just throw things willy-nilly without actually knowing the facts. The other thing that people don't actually know is Republic Records, which is a division of UMG Recordings, right, is the one that Drake is under. So I'll read it nicely so that you understand. Last month, Drake filed a lawsuit on his own record label, that's UMG Recordings, accusing the company of defamation in the publishing and promotion of Not Like Us. He is seeking compensatory and punitive damages. Now, Drake is currently represented by Republic Records, right? A division of UMG. While Kendrick Lamar, is currently represented by Interscope Records, also a division of UMG. So there's a body company there, UMG, and it splits into two. There's Republic Records there, and then there's Interscope Records on the other side, right? But what you don't also know, because everybody keeps throwing lawsuit to Kendrick Lamar. Lamar is not named as a defendant in the lawsuit. He's not. Okay? A spokesperson of UMG came out and said, "We have not and do not engage in defamation against any individual," right? At the same time, we will vigorously defend this litigation to protect our people and our reputation, as well as any artist who might directly or indirectly become frivolous litigation target for having done nothing more than write a song. So that's what Drake is doing. Both him and Kendrick Lamar are literally under one company. But he's trying to say, oh, you guys pushed Not Like Us to some extent, and the defamation, defame my character and blah, 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 and all of that. other stuff, it was just hectic. It's just hectic. But I tell you what, that's what the guy does. He has a history of suing and being sued. So in and out of court, that's his thing. Let him do his thing, right? But at the same time, that's not gonna stop Kendrick Lamar performing it at the Super Bowl halftime show. He teased it and he teased it. He's wearing a chain with the big A there, and he's talking about how they like to sue. Should I perform should I perform their favorite song, 40 Acres and the Mule, before he goes into it? And he talks about how they try to rig the game, but you can't fake influence. So at the end of the day, both artists are telling a story. And I like the way Kendrick Lamar is telling his story better. But here's the thing. If Drake is a true artist to the bone, he understands the culture of rap, understands the culture of hip hop, he should be fighting, not in the court of law, but in the sound booth. Turn the music up, turn on the mic, and say the stuff that's in your heart to the people out there. People will love you more. I think he's doing it even much worse when he now starts to try and get a lawsuit going and try and get people, incite this whole petition to say, okay, this and that. No, I mean, that's not how it's fought. That's not how it's done. I'll tell you, that's not how it's done. The way we have known it, that's not how it's done. There have been far worse situations where artists have insulted and have done everything in their power to win a beef. And it's not through a lawsuit. They go into the booth and then they say whatever they want to say through a record. That's how it's done. And I tell you, if he had done that, he probably would have won the beef. Because clearly Kendrick has won. And all the drug fans would be like, yeah, rigged. And what? Calling somebody a pedophile is not a pedophile. What? Nah. You understand? If he had won it, you'd all be cheering for your guy. I'm telling you that. And I'll probably be sitting here and saying something else. And I'll be like, but that's for another time when Kendrick gets beat by Drake. Funny thing, that doesn't even sound right, and I don't think it can ever happen. He is the boogeyman for a reason, and he's been writing his raps and rhymes for a very long time, and Drake has got nothing to do about that. He knows he's gonna fail dismally at it, and there's nothing he can do. It's just the nature of the game. You've got a Ronaldinho, and you've got a Messi, you've got a Ronaldo, you've got Carlos Tevez, you've got De Bruyne and stuff like that. You all of you can be midfielders, but there's gonna be one Zinedine Zidane. It's just the nature of the game. It can never change. There's gonna be one who murders everybody else. There's gonna be the greatest of all time, and that's just how it is. Last but not least, before I go, I know I'll probably be ruffling up a lot of feathers here. I still don't consider Drake a rap artist. A rap, as he might be, I think he dabbles within the genre, tries to be relevant in it, but not truly aware of the culture and what it represents and what it has to do with a lot of the black people out there. I'm telling you now, I don't think he and look at all the industry greats, look at all the industry peeps that he has had to work with, or people that are out there that have just been asked a simple question about Drake, and they actually don't think he's a good enough rap artist. He's a good artist. He has sold many millions of records. He has had people streaming his music for a very long time, but that doesn't make him the best of the best, right? That doesn't make anything that he does just gold. There are times and places where you meet your match. And with Kendrick Lamar, that's what Drake got. You got the boogeyman. It's like John Wick. John Wick was called the boogeyman. And that's Kendrick Lamar for you when it comes to the rap music. So, be that as it may, whatever your thoughts are on the whole beef and stuff like that, I just want you to understand the facts. Kendrick is winning at the moment. He's streaming more than Drake at the moment for that rap song. He has won more Grammys, and you might say they are rigged. And Drake has said a whole lot of stuff about the Grammys. It's fine. And then you want to compare the Billboard winnings and Kendrick's Billboard winnings, which probably are a difference of 2 or whatever. It's fine. You can try all means necessary just to downplay the impact that Kendrick Lamar has had to the rap culture. You can try and do that all you may, but factually deep in your heart, it could be the fact that you're just paining over the fact that your artist just got beat and you also don't know the facts. So while we're at it, let's educate ourselves on the issue of the rap culture. This is a borrowed culture for many of us Zimbabweans. Right? South Africans in actual fact, who are living in Africa, we hardly know. We have very little understanding of what's happening in Harlem, in the streets of LA. We hardly know what's happening in all of those places, New York, unless we live there. But even if we do live there, it's not our culture, it's not our thing. We getting to know about it, but not to that extent. So having that understanding and understanding what it means within the rap culture to beef and to be competitive and to spit out rhymes and to to go against your opponent and try and wash him out in all manner of ways, you would understand as to the reason why Not Like Us was actually made. So one person asked me, do you think Kendrick could have been relevant to the extent that he's relevant now if he had not produced Not Like Us, or if he had not beefed up with Kendrick? Hell yeah. I'll tell you now for free. If you go and listen to Section 80, that album is fire. But again, if you don't like it, and if you don't like the way Kendrick raps, it's never going to appeal to you. It's just like a whole lot of people that say Jay-Z is not that good. A lot of people that would say Common is not that good. There are a lot of people that will say Nas is not that good. I'm not going to sit here and try and convince you. But I bet you millions of other people think like me. So maybe you're not like us.